Welcome everybody to Talladega Superspeedway. My name's Josh Hall. We're here with the Extreme Forces Racing League here on Intensity Broadcasting. And you're watching live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. We thank you for coming out here tonight and watching the Extreme Forces Racing League here on Intensity. If you're watching on eRacing TV, we appreciate you watching there as well. What's eRacing TV? Well, it's a free app that you can download for your Fire Stick or your Roku, and you can watch live iRacing 7 nights a week. And we're getting down to the end of practice here. And you can see right now, out on track, a couple of drivers getting some drafting practice, a couple of drivers. Well, right now it looks like everybody's kind of making single car runs right now. So, Talladega, the super speedway, high speeds, high banks, big track, a start-finish line that's not where it normally is at any other track. Things can get exciting, especially with these next-gen cars that push a big wake, have a lot of side draft. You'll see some big packs. You'll see some great side-by-side racing. You might even see a little side draft. Drivers pulling each other around, pulling each other backwards, and make it tough for these guys tonight to get around. But we want to see what we can do at the top of the board right now. Jimmy Green and Logan Rhodes, your top two. As we take a look at Stan Mayberry out on track right now, getting some practice in, running by himself. And Eddie Morris joins the party, just came on. Getting his first laps out on track in that 8 machine. I'm really surprised not to see too many drivers out there trying to get some drafting practice in. With just 2 minutes to go in this session. Again, thanks for joining us here tonight on Intensity Broadcasting. Again, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube or Twitch, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Talk with us live. Let us know who you're seeing. Who you think is going to win the race tonight. It's the 43 of Patrick Genter out on track as well. And that great looking Dodge machine. 18 drivers will take the green flag here tonight. Jimmy Green running a bit of a Halloween paint job here. Let's see if we can take a look at the Chucky ride. Love the I love the look. I love when people have a little fun with it, and we see some different paint jobs than we normally see out on track. We got about 40 seconds before we get ready for qualifying here. Let's take a look at our point standings before qualifying commences. And Chris Wheeler is currently still your points leader. But Brady Floyd not too far behind. Neither is Joe Wright, Jacob Bowen, and Bryn George, your top 5. So a couple drivers all in the hunt there. A little bit of a gap between Jacob Bowen and Bryn George. All the way back. So, but a real tight race for your top 4. And a track like Talladega, where the big one can happen at any time, can really shake things up. This practice has concluded, and we're getting ready for qualifying here at Talladega. This qualifying's getting ready to go off here. Looks like Mike Rent's one of the first cars to get out on track. Jennifer Bowen says, nice work, 22. Still got to root for that 28, though. I don't blame you rooting for the 28. He's having a great season so far. Let's see who can get the pole here at Talladega. So a couple different theories on running Talladega. Some drivers are going to run their first lap right up against the wall and then move down to the bottom and hug the yellow line all the way around. Some drivers are going to run high down the straightaways and low in the corners. So you see Mike Rentz running up against the wall, trying to get that car wound up the best he can. Because Talladega is all about getting the speed up. Again, right up against the wall, trying to use as much of that high lane, take that long way around. Normally you don't want to be taking the long way around, but here at Talladega on your opening laps, you want to take that long way around, get that car up to speed. These cars not having a restrictor plate anymore, have what's called a tapered spacer, which, similar to a restrictor plate, it is a little spacer that goes between the air intake and the throttle body, and it restricts the amount of fuel and amount of air that can mix with fuel, reducing the horsepower of the cars. So instead of these cars having 900 horsepower like they would if they were wide open, they're running about 550 here at Talladega. Now you see Mike Rentz running right down on that low side. Let's see if he pinches it off here. If he goes up towards the wall, no, he's going to pinch it down on the straightaway. And I said, some guys will bring it up to the wall here, let that momentum, let the car come up to the wall, and then use the hill to drive down into the corner. But Mike looks like he's confident right there on that low line. Pushes up the track a little bit. You want to be right on that yellow line as he comes off of turn number 4. And Mike Rentz is going to come across the line. And that'll put him up into the 6th position. One driver we know knows how to qualify here at these super speedways is the 82 of Joe Wright. You see Joe right down on that yellow line the best he can. And this is his first lap, and he's holding it right down against the yellow line. To move Joe up into the 5th spot. So it looks like just one lap of qualifying here tonight. Jacob Bowen, currently in the 14th position. See Chris Wheeler out on track as well right now. Yep, looks like he's going to be practicing a pit stop here. As Talladega is known to have long green flag runs. So you want to be able to get on and off a pit road the best you can. Eddie Morris out on track. Holds it right down on that yellow line like you'd expect. And again, usually on a oval like this, your start-finish line would be right there. But they put the start-finish line at the exit of the tri-oval. Eddie moves himself up into the 6th position. Because when Bill France built this track, he wanted to sell us more seats outside of the tri-oval. And he decided to put the start-finish line right there at the end of the tri-oval. And by golly, did it work, as we've seen some of the most exciting finishes right there coming off the tri-oval here at Talladega. Let's take a look at your starting grid with Josh Carver in the 3 on pole, with Tyler Aspinall in the 45 on the outside. Row 2, you'll find Brady Floyd in the 20 machine and Chris Wheeler to his outside in the 22. 5th spot belongs to Joe Wright and Eddie Morris in the 8 and 6th. Row 4, you'll find Bryn George in the 7 and the 24 of Dave Wright. Then Patrick Genter in the 43. He'll be rolling off 9th, and Logan Rhodes rounds out your top 10. 11th, you'll find Stoney Benfield and Ed DeBoer Then Mike Rentz and Jimmy Green will make up row number 7. Row 8, you'll find the 28 of Jacob Bowen and Stan Mayberry. And rounding out the field, the 15 of Austin Green and the 5 of Rob Hamilton. Your race info tonight. Again, you see that red stripe just past the start, or just past the tri-oval. That is your start-finish line here. And a nice hot track, not a lot of humidity, partly cloudy. That's going to allow the track to cool off a little bit and get some speed in the track, and you'll see these cars really start to get the grip and get themselves towards the front. So we're getting ready to roll here. So waiting for our pole sitter to join and get on the grid. John Rose says go 22. Rooting on the 22 of Chris Wheeler. See that 3 machine also having a little bit of a Halloween look to it. Some really cool looking paint jobs out there tonight, which you love to see. The pace car gets rolling here and start our first pace lap. The one and only pace lap here at Talladega. Again, thanks for joining us here tonight. Don't forget, if you're just tuning in, this is the Extreme Forces Racing League here on Intensity Broadcasting. Whether you're watching on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, don't forget to give us a like, a follow, subscribe if you haven't. And let us know in the chat, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, let us know in the chat who you're pulling for here tonight. As the cars work their way down the backstretch here. This is the most calm and peacefulness you'll see out of this pack here tonight. As once the green flag goes out, it will be a hornet's nest and it'll be a fight to get to the front and try to stay in the lead. You got to work with your friends. You got to have some friends out there. We know there are some teammates. Couple drivers in their own Discord channels. Dave Wright, Eddie Morris, Joe Wright, Tyler Aspinall in one channel. You got Patrick Genter, Stoney Benfield. They'll be working together tonight. So as we get ready here, pace car's getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn. On the pit road, there he goes. Josh Carver will be your control car. He's going to lead him down to the starting line. Starting zone is right about the middle of the tri-oval. The cars make their way to that starting zone. A green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Talladega Superspeedway. And a great jump for that 3 of Josh Carver, with Brady Floyd gave him a little bit of a push already right there behind him, trying to get him up towards the front immediately. Tyler Aspinall not having the best jump on the outside. Here comes Joe Wright following Brady Floyd right along as they rocket off of turn number 2 for the first time. I'm seeing that low lane really starting to get formed up first. A lot of wiggling, a lot of moving as they jockey for position down the backstretch, trying to get single file. We see Aspinall fall all the way from 2nd down to 7th as he tucks in front of Dave Wright. And now we see Brady Floyd all over the back bumper, trying to give a big shove to Josh Carver to keep him up in the lead as they come down into the tri-oval for the first time. Josh Carver is going to lead the very first lap here at Talladega. Looks like Eddie Morris is trying to peek his nose up to the high side, but tucks back in line as the field starts to get single file here early. trying to get a feel for their cars, feeling how they work, and seeing they can work with, and if anybody's going to jump up to that high side, who's going to go with them. As Brady Floyd already taking a look up to the high side. Joe Wright was peeking up there with him. He peeks back down in line. I think Floyd wants to go to the high side to get around Carver to take over the lead, and he knows that Joe Wright is always aggressive here on the super speedways and willing to work with anybody to get himself to the front as they come off of turn number 4. So they continue to run single file to complete lap number 2. And in the back of the pack, these guys are pretty much wide open all the way around here. They're riding along with Eddie Morris. And you can see just how much these cars actually move around. You don't notice that from the TV view, but when you're in the car, you hear them getting right on the back bumper of Bryn George and having to lift just to keep from getting in the back of him too hard. That's exactly what you want to see. You'll see a couple of cars getting right at each other, giving the big push. We'll actually look from the back bumper of Bryn George. As you can see, Eddie Morris getting right there, trying to break that bubble. Talk about that a little bit here tonight as well, as these cars create a bubble off the back bumper, and it's hard for that car behind to break that bubble to get up to the bumper to give the big push. But if they can break that bumper and lock onto that break that bubble and lock onto the back bumper of the car in front, it uses both cars' momentum to get that car forward. And we got a yellow flag out on track. It looks like Rob Hamilton and Austin Green are around on the backstretch. That's going to bring up our first wreckage rewind of the night to see what happened between these two. Oh, it looks like it's just a side drafting gone wrong as the two of them go up hard into the outside wall. Just those two involved, and Austin Green on track on pit road now, getting some damage fixed. Looks like he's going to use his one and only reset for the night. The other driver involved, Rob Hamilton, he stays out. Doesn't look like he's got... Oh, it looks like he's got no front end on that car, so... So a tough break for a couple drivers early tonight here at Talladega. And a couple drivers coming down pit road, looks like, to get some fuel and try to run off strategy here. I know they won't be getting any tires. They're just going to get fueled up here so they can stretch their run a little bit further. It's going to give the lead to Brady Floyd. As a quick splash and go for everybody. So give the lead over to Brady Floyd. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night. We got a doubleheader in the works with the Mayhem Modifieds kicking off at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, followed by the SCSRA from Kansas Motor Speedway for the Fortuna Iron 200. So you don't want to miss that. Check that out here tomorrow on Intensity Broadcasting. And then Thursday, you'll have the Thunderstruck Late Model Series. Friday, the Extreme Xfinity Series. They'll be from Mid-Ohio. Saturday you'll have the round of 8 in the in the Original Rebels Sunday Cup Series, as well as the round of 8 for our truck doubleheader on Sunday. So you don't want to miss that. And I think it might be interesting because rumor has it that this Thursday, Phoenix is getting re-released with the new configuration, rendering the old version. They're going to be deleting it really from the service, if you will. And these guys will have literally 2 or 3 days to get accustomed to the track before we go to Phoenix. So it should be interesting, as both the Ascendant Truck Series as well as the Outlaws and the Rebels trucks will be taking on Phoenix. Well, it's not this Sunday. I take that back. It's going to be on the 7th, as this Sunday is going to be Halloween. So forget everything I said. These guys will have a week to practice. I thought I was going to make it drama-filled, but that's not going to happen. Well, lights on the pace car should be shutting off this time by, signifying 1 lap to go before we go back green flag racing. Brady Floyd will be your control car. Looks like he's going to stick down on the low side here, putting Joe Wright up on the high side. But that also puts Joe's teammate Eddie Morris right behind him as well, and his brother lined up behind Eddie. So we've got 3 cars that we know are going to be working together all night long tonight, lined up on that high side. And this might be the opportunity that Joe and Eddie and Dave are looking for to move themselves up to the front. Brady Floyd's going to have Bryn George and Tyler Aspinall behind him. How about our points leader? Kind of stuck in the back here, currently sitting in the 9th position. Mid-pack, not the place you really want to be at Talladega. I know it's a smaller field, only 18 cars, but that middle of the pack is not where you want to be. Because if something happens up front, you just have no reaction time to try to avoid it. And we've seen incidents happen in the back, in the front, in the middle. Anything can happen here at Talladega. Right now, the most comfortable places to be is Brady Floyd, Joe Wright, or even Rob Hamilton all the way at the back, because if something happens, you know you can get slowed down in order to avoid it. So here we go. We're getting ready to go back green flag racing. We're re-racked, restacked, getting ready to refire as the pace car takes that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. And again, Brady Floyd's going to lead him back down to the restart zone. He can go any time that the pace car is pulled on the pit road to the time the green flag comes out. So we'll see when he decides to hit that loud pedal and get himself to restart the race as they come down to that restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and a great jump for Brady Floyd, but too good of a jump as there's a big separation between him and Bryn George, as well as a big separation between George and Tyler Aspinall. Now Dave Wright, Eddie Morris, Joe Wright, they're going to tuck down low here. They're going to fall in line. And we know those 4 cars, the 82, the 8, the 45, and the 24, all been working together. See if the 4 of those cars can get lined up and move themselves to the front. I wouldn't be surprised if those are the first 4 cars that try to venture out to that high lane to try to make something happen out there. Meanwhile, in the back of the pack, we've got some separation. We've got some drivers racing side by side, and already a second pack falling away from the lead pack. Chris Wheeler in the 22, he is the last car in that lead pack. And Rob Hamilton, unfortunately, with all that damage, did not get it fixed, and he's currently lost the draft and has fallen It has fallen fast as the interval between him and the pack has fallen to 5 seconds already. Up front, Chris Wheeler thought about trying to make a move up to the high side. Nobody went with him. He didn't really lose anything. He's going to fall all the way back to 11th where he restarted. And I was really thinking that the 82, the 8, the 45, and the 24 were going to get lined up here to make a run at it. Right now, it looks like they're content running in line, and while that's happened, that backpack has merged with the front pack, and we've got one single file line of cars all around the speedway. Now we've got a couple cars peeking up to the high side. A 3 of Josh Carver moving up there with the 14 of Logan Rhodes. The 22 of Chris Wheeler. Ed DeBoer and Stoney Benfield also peeking up on that high side. And Chris Wheeler moves himself back down to the bottom now. Here comes Tyler Aspinall moving up to the high side now too. Trying to get a push from the 3 of Josh Carver. There goes Eddie Morris, Dave Wright, Joe Wright. There we go. We see that group. Talked about them trying to make a run up on that high side earlier. There they go. Now that high side is much better formed up than that low lane, and that's where the energy is going to come from, up on that high side. As Joe Wright is now pulled alongside Brady Florida, he's going to challenge for the lead as they go into turn number 3. Bryn George is going to have to try to get on the back bumper, but here comes Eddie Morris breaking that bubble, trying to get up to that back bumper of Joe Wright to give him the big shove. And now you've got 3 cars lined up nose to tail up on that high side. So they're trying to get that high side going. And Dave Wright in the 24. He wants to be right there, just barely off of the back bumper of Eddie Morris, which is what he's doing. He doesn't want to touch Eddie because you can't push the pusher. That gets that middle car really out of shape. We saw just a little bit of wiggle in there. Tyler Aspinall has to get out of it. And then we got one car looking up, trying to make it 3 wide. They fall back to 2 wide as they're just not able to get that top lane rolling. Now Eddie Morris is going to take him 3 wide here down off of turn number 4. And up on that high side, Eddie Morris is just going to fall backwards. Oh! Dave Wright gets down into Stoney Benfield. We got a big one here on the front stretch. Hard contact. Eddie Morris involved. Austin Green involved. Stoney Benfield. Jimmy Green. Eddie DeBauer. Looks like Logan Rhodes might have got a little piece of that as well. And that's going to bring up another wreckage rewind here. We see exactly what happened. We're going to take a look here from the blimp because it's going to give us the best view. It looks like the 24, Dave Wright, stuck here in the middle. It looks like he was trying to do a little side draft in here on the 75 of Stoney Benfield. It just came down a little too far. Catches the 75. Sends them back up the track. Tyler Aspinall involved. Josh Carver, Eddie Morris. Dave Wright continues on, but here comes, you see Logan Rhodes getting a little piece of it there. We got one car going through the grass. I believe that's Jimmy Green. No, Jimmy Green spinning around. That's Ed DeBauer through the grass there trying to avoid things. So a tough break for these guys here. Just happened so fast. It looks like Jimmy Green was involved in something completely different there. Let's see if we can see what happened to Jimmy Green. He's down. No, I take that back. It was Austin Green. Let's see if we can see what happened to Austin Green here. Is Oh, Carver just catches him trying to avoid it. He comes hard into that outside wall right down in front of Eddie Morse. So the back half of the pack is pitting. Joe Wright comes in for service. I think Joe is the only car not involved in that wreck to come down to pit road for service. It's going to leave Brady Floyd up in the lead. So Brady Floyd, Britton George, Jacob Bowen, Stan Mayberry, and Chris Wheeler round out your top five. Wheeler getting through the mayhem, getting himself up into the 5th position. And Patrick Genter, Logan Rhodes, Mike Rentz, Joe Wright, and Ed DeBauer round out your top 10. So a few guys having to use their resets early. We're not even halfway yet. And I'm going to say at least half the field is already out of resets, which could come into play later on in the race. Because you can see just how quickly things can happen. The big one can strike at any time. As we just saw a few moments ago. Well, lights are finally off on the pace car. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and refire them here. I believe we would have had a stage break right there as well. So John Rowe says Wheeler to the front. He's working his way up to the front, currently up in the 5th position, restarting right behind Jacob Bowen, and trying to get his way up to the front here. As Brady Floyd is going to choose the outside on this restart. Going to have the 68 of Stan Mayberry behind him. Putting Bryn George and Jacob Bowen on the bottom lane. So here we go. Pace car pulls off on the pit road. Brady Floyd will lead him back down to the restart zone. Again, Brady can choose the restart as soon as the pace car pulls on the pit road, till the time the green flag actually flies in the air. Green flag is in the air. We are back racing here at Talladega, and Brady Floyd gets a great jump. Again, maybe too good of a jump as he pulls down in front of Bryn George. Then you really don't want to have that much separation between you and the car in front, or car behind you, excuse me, because they can get a great run with the draft here. Its draft is really strong. It's really easy to get a big giant run and have a couple cars pass you if you have too big of a lead. As we see one car, the 43 of Patrick Genter, going backwards right now. I don't know if he's just caught up on that high line or if that's by design, trying to stay out of the mess that could happen. But he's going to fall all the way to the tail end of the field. As one car, Josh Carver in the 3, jumps up to the high side by himself. Now he's going to have the 14 of Logan Rhodes jump up there with him. We've seen this one already, boys, when the Eddie Bauer pops up there as well. Meanwhile, up front, we're seeing a big gap between our front 3 cars, and that's going to kill the energy on that low lane. That's going to allow that high lane to actually pull right alongside and get a big run here, as they're going to have a huge run on the rest of the field, and that's exactly what you want to see is 2 cars nose to tail. Chris Wheeler comes up, tries to side draft, and does side drafts the 3, slows him down, breaks his momentum, and kills the momentum that high lane had. That's what you can do with the side draft. The way a side draft works is if you slide right up alongside that car, you can dump all the air coming off of your car right onto the spoiler of the car trying to pass you, and that'll actually slow them down. It doesn't speed you up, it slows them down. But you want to make sure that you get away from them as quickly as possible so that they don't do it right back to you. Now we got Mike Rentz up in the mix as well, seeing if he's going to try to... Now you see Carver trying to side draft Joe Wright. They almost make a little bit of contact. Carver's going to have to tuck in behind the 82 machine. And so will Logan here as they come across the line. Complete lap number 18. Now Logan and Carver back up to that high side. They're trying to make that work. They're doing everything they can. They get someone to go up there with them and get their way back up to the front. Here comes Genter as well, also trying to join the group here on the high side. Put 3 cars up there. Ooh, big old side draft from Carver. Gets into the side of Mike Rentz, and that slows the momentum of the 91. Here comes the 88 of DeBauer up on the high side now. There are going to be 4 cars lined up on the high side, and they're going to see they can get some momentum and try to get themselves up to the front. As we're seeing a lot of patience out of the drivers on the low lane. While these guys have been running, we actually have 3 distinct packs out on track. You see your lead group with the green circle around it. And you've got your second pack, which is led by Eddie Morris, Tyler Aspel. The yellow flag is out. I believe this is for the stage break. So there you have it. There's your stage break with Brady Floyd, your winner of the stage, Bryn George, Stan Mayberry, Jacob Bowen, Logan Rhodes, Chris Wheeler, Josh Carver, Joe Wright, Patrick Genter, and Mike Rentz, your top 10. As Brady Floyd catches the pace car here, pit road will be open for everybody to come in and get service. With 65% fuel, if they pit here, they will not be able to make it to the end. but by pitting here, they'll have less fuel to take on that pit stop to make it to the end. So you might see some guys come down here. You might see some guys gamble and stay out. Instead, you'll see almost the entire field come down pit road, with the exception of Jacob Bowen, Brady Floyd, and Chris Wheeler all staying out. Well, I take that back. Brady Floyd did come in, so just Jacob Bowen and Chris Wheeler deciding to stay out. As there goes Brady Floyd, Joe Wright, Bryn George, Genter, Aspinall. Everybody off pit road. Carver, one of the last cars off pit road, because he decided to take tires. And tire wear is not as important here as, say, a short track or a mile and a half. So let's see if we can get a word with Joe right here. Here I'm shutting off the car. See, we're gonna talk with Joe real quick. Hey Joe, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, yep, I sure do.
Man, not a lot of passing out there tonight. It seems like everybody's single file. Is that a product of the draft, or is that a product of everybody trying to take their time right now and survive to the end so they can race it out towards the end?
Oh, it's the next gen's terrible super speedway package. It's not fun. You can't do anything. You saw we had 5 or 6 cars on the top line and couldn't do anything with it. So it's just a product of this car at this track combo.
Yeah, when you, Eddie, Joe, you, Eddie, Tyler, were all lined up on that high side, I thought you might have had something, but it looked like that just didn't happen.
Yeah, it just fizzles out. You might get a good run for a minute or two. You might get up a car or two. But if you have nowhere to go, it just fizzles out. And then Eddie got a little hot. That's why he ended up three wide. And ultimately, I think Dave just got loose in the middle there. A little bit of air pushing him around.
Yeah, and caused that little one there. But for sure, well, good luck the rest of the way. And it's just going to be one more pit stop. Y'all can't make it to the end from here, correct?
About 22-ish laps, somewhere in there.
Perfect. So we'll see some green flag pit stops. Hopefully, good luck out there, and hopefully
some strategy coming, Josh. I was just about to talk to with the boys. So.
Well, you get up there, talk some strategy, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end.
All right, man.
There you have. There's your currently 4th place runner, Joe Wright, as he gets ready to go back green flag racing here at Talladega. Lights on the pace car are off. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, refire them. With Jacob Bowen going to be on the inside here. Chris Wheeler on the inside here, and Jacob Bowen on the outside. And Brady Floyd in 3rd, Joe Wright 4th, Bryn George, Patrick Genter, Tyler Aspinall, Stoney Benfield, Logan Rhodes, and Rob Hamilton make up your top 10. And I think the 5 of Hamilton has come in and got that damage fixed. No, he's still got a lot of damage, to that 5 machine. So that car is not going to be up to speed. So it'll be a challenge for him when we go back green flag racing here. Again, if you're just tuning in, joining us, this is the Extreme Forces Racing League here on Intensity Broadcasting. Intensity Broadcasting, broadcasting live iRacing 7 nights a week here on Intensity. They're on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. Check us out if this is your first time joining us. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for great racing 7 nights a week. So here we go. Pace car pulling on the pit road. Chris Wheeler on the low side. Jacob Bowen on the high side. So they come down to the starting zone. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing here at Talladega, and Jacob Bowen with the big jump on the high side. He's going to sneak down in front of Chris Wheeler. Joe Wright's going to go down with him. Move the 82 up into the second position. And the 43 of Patrick Genter is going to get freight trained up on that high side, but here comes a train of cars up on that high side to help. Eddie Morris in that mix. Stoney Benfield. We see the 5 of Rob Hamilton with all that nose damage able to kind of hang tight in the draft, but looks like he's fallen off now. But right now, Joe Wright trying to give the back bumper to that 28 machine. Now the entire field back to single file. And now you're really starting to see from this view, again, is how much these cars really move around in the draft. In the air, the cars do push around quite a bit as Austin Green has come down to pit road. And I believe he might be parking it here for the day. As we come off a turn number 4. And when they cross the line this time, we'll be halfway here at Talladega. Jacob Bowen continuing the lead here. Joe Wright right his back bumper. Chris Wheeler takes a look up to the high side. Brady Floyd gave the inclination that he was going to go up there with him, but tucks back in line as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. Right along with Joe Wright, and you can see just not able to get up to that back bumper. As I mentioned, these cars create a big bubble of air as that comes off the back bumper of these cars, and they just can't get back up to that back bumper without some help. If the lead car either drags his brake or the car behind Joe is to give him a shove, he could break that bubble, get right up to that back bumper, and then those two cars could actually work together and start to pull away from the field just a little bit. But right now, not being able to break that bubble, Joe's just kind of stalled out right behind the 28 of Jacob Bowen. A little further back, we'll take a look from Mike Rentz here. And you can kind of see the same thing going on, just not able to get right up on that back bumper of the car in front of him. Here's Bryn George as well. They come into the corner, a little bit of a accordion effect as the field does kind of get bottled up there for a second. Up front though, we've got 3 cars now. You see a little bit of a gap there between Wheeler and Floyd. And if those 3 can continue on like that, they might be able to push themselves even further out front of the field. Oh, one car looked up to the high side. Now he tucks back in line. Bryn George also looked up to the high side for a second. Thought about jumping out. Tucks back in. And you do see these guys jumping out a little bit as well. Trying to get a little air on the nose. Because when you're running right behind another car like that. Oh, cars coming down the pit road. Here comes Joe Wright. Tyler Aspinall coming down onto pit road. Dave Wright coming as well. Dave cooks it into the pits, and that is definitely going to be speeding for him. Eddie Morris able to make it on the pit road without speeding. Tough break for Dave, though. As Joe's going to come down to his pit stall. It's going to be the first one, gas only, down and away. Tyler as well. We'll have to see if those two are going to be able to work together well enough to keep themselves in the pack. Eddie Morris also off pit road. And the smart thing for these guys to do would be for Aspinall to drop off here to catch Eddie Morris and then draft his way up to Joe Wright. And then the three of them could work together. Jacob Bowe and Chris Wheeler also come down the pit road. So being a lap apart like this, actually, I don't think this is going to hurt Joe and Tyler as much as if the whole field was to stay out there for a few more laps. As those two are now down and away. Brady Floyd, Bryn George, Logan Rhodes, and Josh Carver, your top four. And DeBauer right there as well. And they continue to stay out. You see just how much these guys can make a pit stop and not lose the draft. That's Chris Wheeler. That's Joseph Wright right behind him. Here comes Tyler Aspinall, Eddie Morris. So the three of them did get hooked up, as we mentioned. And you can see just how much faster three cars working together can go than one car by itself. Chris Wheeler's going to try to tuck in line and hitch a ride. He's got Jacob Bowen right there behind him as well, trying to give him a push back up to these five. And this could be the race for the win right here if everybody can just get single file. Back up at the front, Brady Floyd continues to lead. With Bryn George and Logan Rhodes right there in third. As we take a look from Brady Floyd's roll bar here, should be able to see the no, you can't even see them. They're pulling away enough where they're off the screen now. The cars that were just on pit road. So they're doing a good job pulling away from this group here. And if they can get a good enough gap, they might be able to stay in front of this group when the green flag pit stops come out for them. So Joe Wright was saying that about 22 laps of fuel. These cars last pitted on lap 21. So you should see these guys coming down pit road within the next 5 to 10 laps. Especially if that group of five led by Joe Wright up here is continuing to pull away from that group. And they're going to be catching up with some more cars as they're coming up. I believe that's the 24 of Dave Wright that they're going to be catching here. That'll be another car added to the train, which will speed this group up even more. Now, Brady Floyd, Bryn George, that is the push that we've been wanting to see. And once you can break that bubble and get up on that bumper, really gets that front car moving, as you saw right there. And that's what they want to do. They want to try to get as much speed as the entire field behind them comes down pit road. Oh, some contact. I don't think everybody got down to pit road speed. We're going to have to see if everybody comes off of pit road at the same time. Oh, more contact there between Carver and Logan. As Carver makes his way down to his pit box. Jimmy Green, DeBoer, Genter all down and away. Josh Carver and Logan Rhodes still sitting on pit road, serving a penalty as they were not able to get down to speed. As here comes Brady Floyd down on the pit road. Is he able to get it slowed down to 60 miles an hour? He is. That's going to leave Stoney Benfield and Mike Rentz by themselves out on track. And they're going to pass by pit road. So it's all said and done. This will be the battle for the win here. As you see Jimmy Green and DeBoer just in front of this group. But this group is going to be traveling at a much greater rate of speed. We see the speed of Joe Wright here, 191. Take a look at Joe Wright. I'm sorry, Jimmy Green, 189, 190. Joe Wright, 192, 195, 196, 197, 98. They're going to hit 200 miles an hour going into turn number 3. And these front two cars are going to be no match for this train, as they're just going to chug right on by the outside as they catch them. Oh, Brady Floyd coming off of pit road, almost spun it. Oh, a big block. Another 3 wide, so a big block from the 88. Tries to slow that whole train down. Oh, we got some contact from there. Wheeler gets turned. Wheeler's able to hold on to it. What a save from that 22 machine. Now they're 3 wide in the back here. Aspinall giving a big shove to Dave Wright. Again, Dave Wright is a couple laps down, or is a lap down. But he's still battling, trying to get Aspinall up to the front. While that's been going on, Joe Wright, Eddie Morris breaking away from the pack in front. Matt Rentz and Stoney Benfield, currently your leader still. But they have not pit, so they're going to have to come down pit road eventually. Right now the battle is up here for the lead. As Rob Hamilton and the 14 of Logan are both a lap down. See the field snaking behind them, trying to break the draft, trying to get as big of a run as they can. But Eddie Morris and Joe Wright continue to work together to get themselves and keep themselves up at the front. Now the lap cars are starting to get a little bit of a run on the bottom side, but that's okay, because that actually puts some room on that low lane behind Joe Wright and Eddie Morris. Gives them a little buffer there. Now they're going to make their way down to the bottom, leaving Jacob Bowen up on the high side all by himself. Here comes Chris Wheeler, though, trying to get up to the back bumper of that 28 machine. And Bryn George up there as well, trying to get formed up to try to get themselves back up to the front. Little contact, bad bump there between Bowen and Wheeler, but they're able to keep it straight. Now Eddie Morris still giving a big shove to the 82. Trying to keep them all at the front. As they come through turns 3 and 4. Back to single file. Stoney Benfield, Mike Rentz continuing to stay out, but continuing to lose time. As these two cars, if we take a look at the Delta, well, you can see it right there on track. just over 8 seconds, and that back group is coming quickly. And what these two are hoping for right now is a yellow to come out, because if a yellow came out, they would come down pit road and not lose a lap or track position. But right now, when these two pit, it's going to hurt them a ton. As you can see just how fast Joe Wright is coming now. The gap under 7 seconds. As the pack behind him is easily running 2 seconds a lap quicker. There's the difference in lap times between Mike Rentz in second and Joe Wright in third. And 2.2 seconds is a ton of time here when you're doing 200 miles an hour. As we cross the line here, we have 9 laps to go here. Dave Wright trying to get up alongside the 5 of Rob Hamilton. They are racing for position right there. While that happens, they actually break away or break up that back part of the group there and allow Eddie Morris and Tyler Aspinall to get a little bit of a break there. You see Logan and the 5 of Hamilton, they are currently a lap down, separating Aspinall from Eddie Morris. And oh yeah, that lead that was just about 8 seconds a few moments ago, it's now under 2.5 seconds from third place to first and second, who are still out there. I don't know if they're just out there trying to save fuel, trying to make it to the end, or hoping a caution comes out. But right now they're in a position where they are going to get passed in a hurry. You see Eddie Morris with a great push on Joe Wright. As this pack of cars comes up on the cars of Stoney Benfield and Mike Rentz. Now Benfield hits pit road. Mike Rentz stays out. That causes the field to scatter just a little bit. Chris Wheeler now looking up on the outside here, trying to make something happen. He's got Jacob Bowen working with him up on that side, and now Wheeler, he's on a little side draft, trying to pull that car backwards below him, seeing if he can make his way up towards the front. That's going to give the lead solely to Joe Wright, with Eddie Morris right there behind him. That high lane's momentum died as they came off of turn number 4. So Joe Wright continues the lead. Eddie Morris right there, and great view off the back bumper of Joe Wright. You can see that bubble. It looks like Eddie Morris is stalled out. As they come through the corner, Joe runs a little bit higher. That allows Eddie to run a little bit lower, get some air to the nose of that car. At the same time, it allows Eddie to get a little bit of a run. Starts to break that bubble, and now you see that 8 machine pulling right up to the back bumper and makes the contact right there as they go to the corner, gives them that big push. That's what you love to see. That's, as the car out in front, that's exactly what he wants to see. Getting some help, staying up front. They come across the line this time. We're going to have just 5 laps to go. Joe Wright continues to lead. Eddie Morris, Tyler Aspinall, your top 3. And like I said, Morris has a little bit of a buffer back to third place Tyler Aspinall, because Aspinall is actually running 5th in line behind the 2 lap cars. At the back of this pack, Chris Wheeler is trying to get someone to go with him. Trying to get himself up to the front here. Right now, everybody just seems pretty content running single file. Now Jacob Bowen looks up to the high side, gets a little bit of a run. Here goes Chris Wheeler. Here comes Dave Wright. And Mike Rentz is around on the front stretch, but does not bring out the yellow. Tony Benfield turned around on the apron as well. No caution, though. Let's see if we can see what happened to these two real quick. Coming off a pit road. Oh, Mike Rentz loops it around. Catches Benfield, and because they're both involved in the caution, or in the wreck, no caution comes out. Here comes the entire field coming 200 miles an hour, but we stay green. Now we see this back group led by Jacob Bowen starting to get formed up. Trying not to lose the draft and trying to get a big run here as we come across the line for 3 laps to go. And the yellow flag is out. And Stony Benfield was around. That's going to bring up our wreckage rewind. Let's see what happened to Stony here to bring out the yellow flag. A lot of damage to that machine, trying to get it slowed down. Well, looks like he just stops on the apron. He's off the racing line. I'm not sure why that brought out a yellow flag. Looks like he might have blown a motor and had to stop down on the bottom there to reset. Typically when a car is down below the yellow line, though, the yellow won't come out, but this is going to change everything here as we're going to have ourselves a restart with Joe Wright, Eddie Morris, and Tyler Aspinall 1, 2, 3. Again, we know they're working together, and we'll have to see how they work together here to try to get one of them here in victory lane. Again, don't forget to join us tomorrow night for our doubleheader with the Mayhem Modifieds going off at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by the SCSRA taking on Kansas Speedway tomorrow night, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thursday night, we got the Thunderstruck Series, followed by the Original Rebels Extreme Xfinity Series on Friday. They'll be taking on Mid-Ohio. Saturday night, you'll have the Send It Cup Series. They work in their way into the round of 8. Then we'll have Sunday night off for Halloween. Enjoy your night with your family. And we'll be back here Monday with Monday Night Mayhem, part of the Extreme Forces Racing League. Speaking of the Original Rebels and SCSRA, has just announced that there's going to be a little bit of a versus race, a little bit of a grudge race, if you will, between the two leagues. They're going to be taking the best 15 drivers from each league, pitting them against each other in the trucks at Nashville Superspeedway for 130 laps. And you'll be able to catch that one right here on Intensity Broadcasting. I don't know the date just yet. I believe it's going to be sometime in November. You're not going to want to miss that, though. That's going to be an exciting one. The top 15 drivers from Original Rebels, you'll see names like Eddie Smith, Garrett Kinder, Zach Wetstein, taking on the names of Brian Nudie, Isaiah Gill. So it's going to be an exciting one for sure. I think Cody Moore is going to be part of that as well. Todd Mays, Zach Cox, Blake Hensley, Daniel Michel. So you don't want to miss it. That's going to be a great one from the SCSRA and Original Rebels. Again, Garrett Kinder, Josh Oswald, William the Bulldozer Griffith, all the names that you love to see on both Wednesdays and Sundays. You'll be able to catch them all together in one race. So that'll be an exciting one for sure. I'm really looking forward to calling that one, and looking forward to seeing the reaction we get when we see who's the better league there, who can best the rest between the SCSRA and the Original Rebels Racing League. Oh, Joe Wright's going to lead him back down here. The lights on the pace car will be going off this time. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and refire them for a green-white checker here at Talladega Superspeedway. And no surprise, Joe Wright's going to take that inside lane. No, he's going to take the outside lane. Putting Eddie Morris on the inside, and I see what they're doing here. That's going to line the three of them up. When Joe takes off, Eddie will be able to let him down in front. Allow those three to work together to the end. The 88 of Ed DeBoer up on the high side behind Joe. Then you have Jacob Bowen and Chris Wheeler back in row number 3. Britton George, Jimmy Green, Patrick Enter, Logan Rhodes. That makes up all the cars on the lead lap. Rob Hamilton back in 11th. The first car one lap down, followed by Dave Wright, Brady Floyd, Josh Carver, Stan Mayberry, Mike Rentz, and Stoney Benfield. With the 15 of Austin Green retiring for the night. So here we go. The most exciting words in motorsports: green, white, checker. At a super speedway, anything can happen. We're going to see a lot of pushing. We're going to see some bumping. We're going to see some side drafting. We're going to see some mayhem here as this race unfolds here. Again, Joe Wright, your leader of the control car, up on the high side. Eddie Morris, his teammate, down on the bottom. Pace car pulls on the pit road. Green flag is in the air. Joe goes immediately, able to stay up there on that high side, getting that car wound up. And as he comes across the line, he'll slide down right in front of Eddie Morris. Not switching lanes before the start-finish line. Chris Wheeler moves up into the 4th position. Good move for him, as he's trying to get someone to work with him to the front here. Here comes Jacob Bowen, also right behind the 22 of Wheeler as they come off of turn number 2. See Logan jumping up to the high side. He just got his lap back. He's hoping to get himself a good finishing position here. Now he's going to tuck back in behind Britton George. Eddie Moore's content right now, pushing his teammate as they come through turns 3 and 4. Tyler Aspinall falling back a little bit to the 22 of Chris Wheeler. Maybe trying to set up a little bit of a run here as they come down the short street into the tri-oval. And they're going to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Talladega. Again, anything can happen with that start-finish line being past the tri-oval. Here they come into turns 1 and 2 for the last time. Eddie Morris right there on his teammate's back bumper. Tyler Aspinall again falling back just a little bit. Maybe trying to catch Chris Wheeler to get a good run on him down the backstretch. Here comes Aspinall though. Off of turn number 2. He's got to run, but nowhere to take it. Here comes Chris Wheeler now looking up to the high side all by himself. Going to side drive Tyler Aspinall here. As they come into turn number 3, who's Jacob Bowen going to go with? Jacob Bowen's going to look up to the high side because they're side drafted. No, that's going to break up the front 2 here. Eddie Morris and Joe Wright alone at the front. More side drafting as Chris Wheeler's going to move himself up into the 3rd position. And as they come through the trial, Eddie Moore's going to hang tight right behind his teammate there. 4 wide Aspinall through the... It's crazy finish, and it's over. Aspinall through the grass there. I'm sorry, my headset died for a second. And what a wild finish. 4 wide coming to the stripe. But Joe Wright is your winner. Eddie Morris comes home in second. Jacob Bowen in third. Bryn George, Jimmy Green, Ed DeBauer. Let's see if we can see what happened back here. Because there was Aspinall gets shoved down into the grass. Let's rewind this just a little bit and see if we can see exactly what happened to Aspinall here. Yeah, they were 4 wide. Bowen shoves Aspinall down through the grass. Again, 3 wide. Jacob Bowen making the aggressive move he had to make to get up into the 3rd spot. But right now it is all about our winner tonight, the 82 of Joseph Wright, as he comes down through the start-finish line for his celebration. I know this is the first time he's tried burning out in one of these next-gen cars. See if he can figure it out. Or is he going to get Eddie Morris over here to get a bit of a teammates here? So Joe Wright is your winner tonight. And let's take a look at your results. Again, Joe Wright comes home. Your winner, Eddie Morris, Jacob Bowen, Bryn George, and Jimmy Green round out the top 5. Ed DeBauer in 6. Chris Wheeler, Patrick Genter, Tyler Assel, and Logan Rhodes make up the top 10. Then Rob Hamilton, Dave Wright, Brady Floyd, Josh Carver, Mike Rent, Stan Bayberry, Stoney Benfield, and Austin Green round out the rest of the field. But it's all about our winner tonight, Joe Wright. Let's see if we have our top 3 in the waiting room. We do. Let's talk with our 3rd place finisher, Jacob Bowen. Jacob, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Josh. How's it going?
Man, what a wild finish there. I know it was 4 or 5 wide. Looks like you might have pushed Aspinall a little bit as he was trying to make a move on you low, but coming to the line, you got to make the moves you got to make. Talk us through that last lap there. How were you able to move your way up into the 3rd position there?
So I was following Chris. You know, Chris and I are buddies. We tend to help each other whenever we can, and he went high on Aspinall and kind of brought him back to us, and so I followed Chris and pushed him up. And then right as we were coming out of 3 there, Chris went a bit high, Tyler went a bit low, and I saw the massive run that Jimmy had behind me. At least that's who was behind me, right?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Green in the 25.
Yep, so I saw the massive run that Jimmy G. Green had behind me, and so I moved down half a lane because I knew he was aiming for my back bumper. And he shoved me right by the 2, and then they all got caught up with one another.
Well, awesome finish for you. I know it's the night you were trying to have, the rebounding from the rough night you had last week. What was the strategy going into the race? Because I know these cars are hard to pass. Did you have any kind of strategy, or did you know what you were trying to do there to get yourself towards the front?
Really, my strategy, I'd kind of talked myself through it beforehand because I knew it was going to be hard to pass on the outside, almost impossible. I was just going to sit back the entire time. I wasn't going to make anything 3 wide. I wasn't going to do anything stupid. And then a whole bunch of those guys went high there to try the high side, and it gave me, I'd say, 5, 6 positions for free.
Well, that's what you
took that opportunity. Didn't pit after the stage and got up into 1st.
Well, that's the way you got to do it sometimes to get the podium finishes here, especially here at Talladega where it's so hard to pass. But before we let you go, any shout outs you got to give tonight? Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank my sponsor, Bully Dog Coffee Company. They've been a really big help and a really big support this season. My mom, Chris, for helping me, and my girlfriend as usual.
Well, congratulations again on the top three, and I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll be talking again soon.
All right, thank you.
So that was your third place finisher, Jacob Bowen. Let's talk to our second place finisher, the man, the myth, the legend, Eddie Morris. Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, brother, how's it going?
How about that for an introduction? And great finish tonight. Coming home second. I knew when you and Joe and Tyler got lined up there that it was going to be a good finish for y'all. But you did a good job trying to keep Joe up in front. Were you going to make a move on him if the opportunity arose, or were you planning on pushing him all the way to the end there?
Ah, man, you know as well as anybody in these cars, it's hard to get a run and one on one there. Yeah, I'm just along for the ride and pushing him to the win, which is totally fine by me. I hate it for Tyler. He got past. Congratulations to Jacob on that. Congrats to Joe for the win. Um, yeah, it was crazy, man. Like me and Joe was talking. It was probably one of the best restrictor plate races, with this package and stuff. Uh, with all things considered. But yeah, it was fun.
I talked to Joe in the middle of the race there, and we were talking strategy, and he wouldn't really give up the strategy, but he said he was going to talk to you guys, and it looked like that strategy really paid off. Besides Dave speeding on pit road, which was not what you wanted to see, but um, was that kind of the idea to kind of pit early from the beginning, trying to get yourself up to the front there, or did that just come right after that yellow flag came out?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of jealous, man. You guys don't ever pull me up or anything. But besides that, no, that was kind of the plan going on, and we were all gonna try to orchestrate that and get it going. And I got caught up in some of that stuff. I was up there pushing Joe, and my car was overheating, and I told them I'm dropping out, so I was trying that high line, and that I was wrong place, wrong time. If I'd have stayed up there just a couple more seconds, I'd have probably been all right. But got some damage from that, and it kind of set me back. And Joe and Tyler waited on me because they knew three cars would be better than two, and that's what kept me into it, to be honest with you. So I was grateful for them, and that's why I finished second. So
Well, before I let you go, and I will pull you in next race. You can be my
yeah,
race reporter next race. So, um,
anytime, man.
but yeah, before we let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shots you got to give?
You guys best in the business, the best broadcasters in the business. Everybody that likes lets me do this, and man, it's fun. That's it, brother.
Well, again, congratulations on the second place finish, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Alrighty, thanks, bro.
So that was your second place finisher, Eddie Morris. Let's bring in your winner tonight, Joe Wright. Joe, got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, Josh, I got you, bro.
Man, we talked in the middle of the race there when that yellow came out, and you were saying how much you hate this package, how you hate these cars, how you can't pass, and you were working on some strategy stuff. And that strategy pays off. You get the win here tonight with your teammate Eddie Morris giving you the push. Um, when that last caution flag came out, which I'm kind of surprised the caution did come out for that, did that kind of like deflate you at all? Did that kind of worry you that you might have given it away right there with that yellow?
I mean, not so maybe. I had my faith in Eddie and even Tyler back there and Jake. I mean, all those guys raced well tonight up at the front. It was fun. I had a great time. Like I said, that strategy call was the best shot I had at getting a little edge on the people because there's no passing here, man. And unless you're hooked up with four cars passing one or two cars at a time, there's no chance. So.
Yeah, and you go back to that strategy call. Um, Dave sped on pit road. You had to wait on Eddie because he had to get some damage fixed. I mean, did you kind of think at that point, man, my shot might be gone because I have to wait on these guys? Or did you know that you had a strong enough run there to get yourself back up to the front?
So I knew I had three cars after Dave sped. So I knew that was all right. We did have to wait for Eddie about 1.6 back when we came off pit road. I told Tyler, I was like, let's just wait for Eddie here. We'll get him hooked up and we'll see what we can do. Then Tyler got hot. That's why they shuffled out. Um, and then the rest is history. I mean, we came upon a couple of groups of cars that I thought might have had a shot there to stay in front of us, but for one circumstance or another, maybe like middle lane, high lane, they didn't choose the right place to be at the time, so they we were able to get by everybody. But man, what a race! It was fun. I had fun toward the end.
Yeah, and that was my exact saying as you guys came off pit road. I said the best thing that these three cars can do is to get hooked up and for these two to wait on Eddie so that they can get the run together. And that's exactly what you guys did, and you got the win. So congratulations. And before we let you go, anybody you want to thank, any shout outs you got to give here tonight?
Absolutely, man. Like 100% to Eddie and Eddie's Customs, Morris Customs. He's the man. He was there all night. I think he was kind of pushing me because I waited for him, so that helped his race and he helped me win it. So shout out to him. Shout out to Intensity Broadcasting, Extreme Forces for putting this thing on. Dean Qualley, Max McClure, Eddie, all those guys up in the admin that are doing a great job with this league. It's starting to build up. That 14 cars tonight look good out there. Had some good racing going on in different areas. Again, the package doesn't lend to great super speedway racing, but hey, I got my win, so that's what I needed.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations on the win. And as the season goes on, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yeah, man, and shout out to Intensity Broadcasting. Like, follow, and subscribe. Check out Josh, me, Dave, Eddie, everybody up in the booth at Man Weiss. Check them out.
Thanks, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
There you have it, your winner tonight, Joseph Wright, the Super Speedway Master, getting the win here at Talladega. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Like Joe said, you gotta listen to the winner. He's the guy that won the race. He knows what he's talking about. Whether you're watching on eRacing TV, we appreciate you there as well. If you don't know what eRacing TV is, it's a free app you can download for your Fire Stick or your Roku. You can watch live iRacing 7 nights a week right there on your big screen. So check that out, eracingtv.com. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night for the doubleheader between the Mayhem Modifieds and the SCSRA. And as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Intensity Broad 1. Check us out. Atlee likes to put up some race quotes, and he likes to put up some surveys. Gets involved, gets the fans involved, so check that out as well. And again, as our boy Atlee, at Man Weiss would say,